He was supposed to be the next Marlon Brando. Instead, Tony Franciosa died broken forgotten. What happened? Now we know the ugly truth. His boss at NBC said he was impossible to control. His Hollywood enemies called him dangerous. And his ex-wife Shelley Winters exposed his shocking affair with Lauren Beale that ruined everything. The real story is even worse than the rumors. From the 10 days he spent in jail to the movie mogul who personally destroyed his career as revenge for marrying his daughter, Hollywood's biggest scandal is finally being revealed. Tony Franciosa was born Anthony George Papaleo on October 25, 1928, in New York City's Little Italy. His grandparents had come from Meli, a small town in southern Italy, searching for a better life. His father worked in construction, and his mother was a seamstress. The neighborhood was full of Italian traditions, but it was also a tough place to grow up. Life was hard, and money was always tight. When Tony was just 1 year old, his parents separated. His mother and aunt took on the responsibility of raising him. He rarely saw his father and later admitted they never really knew each other. Every week, he would visit his father's apartment to collect an $8 child support check, but their relationship remained distant. That absence left a mark on him. Growing up during the Great Depression meant facing struggles every day. His mother worked long hours, doing everything she could to provide for him. They lived in small, cramped quarters, and every dollar mattered. The streets of Manhattan weren't easy either. Fights were common, and survival often depended on knowing when to stand your ground. Tony learned quickly. He later said, "Getting in the first blow was something I learned in childhood." That tough, street-smart attitude stayed with him for life. Despite the hardships, his Italian heritage gave him a strong sense of identity. Little Italy had its own energy. Families stuck together, traditions were kept alive, and no matter how little people had, there was always pride in their roots. That background shaped him in ways he didn't fully understand at the time. It gave him an emotional depth that would later make his acting feel real. After finishing high school, Tony took on whatever jobs he could find. He worked as a welder, a ship steward, a cook, a dishwasher, and a day laborer. Each job taught him something about hard work and survival. He met people from all walks of life, saw their struggles, and understood what it meant to earn a living. That experience would later help him bring authenticity to the working-class characters he played. At 18, something unexpected happened. A friend invited him to free dance lessons at the YMCA. Acting had never crossed his mind, but while he was there, he stumbled upon an audition for The Seagull by Anton Chekhov. Out of curiosity, he decided to give it a try. To his surprise, he landed a small role. That moment changed everything. Acting became his new passion. He started studying under Joseph Gigler and later earned a scholarship at the Dramatic Workshop. In New York City, he trained at the prestigious Actors Studio with Lee Strasberg and performed with groups like the Cherry Lane Theater. He worked alongside future stars like B. Arthur, learning from some of the best in the business. He wasn't just another hopeful actor. He had a fire in him, a raw intensity that made people take notice. One of the biggest decisions he made was changing his name. Born Anthony Papaleo, he decided to take his mother's maiden name, Franciosa, as his stage name. It was a way to honor her sacrifices. She had worked tirelessly to raise him alone, and he wanted to carry her name forward. It also gave him a fresh start in Hollywood. Having an ethnic-sounding name could sometimes lead to typecasting. Franciosa kept his heritage alive while also opening more doors. Tony Franciosa's journey into acting began in 1948 when he joined the Cherry Lane Theater Group in Greenwich Village. This off-Broadway theater was known for experimental plays that challenged traditional storytelling. It was a place where rising stars like B. Arthur, Kim Stanley, and Michael Gazzo honed their skills. Working in this creative space exposed Franciosa to bold and unconventional performances that shaped his approach to acting. By 1950, his dedication earned him a place at the Actors Studio, one of the most prestigious training grounds for actors. Lee Strasberg led the studio, teaching method acting to some of the biggest names in the industry. Franciosa trained alongside Marlon Brando, James Dean, and Ben Gazzara. The intense environment forced him to dig deep into his emotions, a skill that would become his trademark. He learned how to bring raw intensity to his performances, making every role feel real. His Broadway debut came in 1953 with End as a Man, a play about corruption at a Southern military academy. The production started off Broadway at Theatre de Lys on September 15th before moving to Broadway on October 14th. Franciosa played Private, George Pendleton, a character filled with both defiance and vulnerability. His performance stood out, earning praise from critics who saw him as a rising star. The play featured Ben Gazzara in a lead role, and together they brought a new level of intensity to the stage. This role put Franciosa on the map, proving he had the talent to take on complex characters. His biggest breakthrough came in 1955 with A Hatful of Rain. The play tackled a subject rarely seen in theater at the time: heroin addiction. Franciosa played Polo Pope, a man struggling to help his brother Johnny, a war veteran battling addiction. Ben Gazzara played Johnny, and Shelley Winters took on the role of Celia, Johnny's wife. The play, written by Michael V. Gazzo, debuted on November 9th at the Lyceum Theater and ran for 398 performances. Franciosa's performance was powerful, capturing the frustration and deep love of a brother trying to hold his family together. His work earned him a Tony Award nomination, cementing his reputation as one of the most intense actors of his generation. Hollywood took notice. In 1957, Franciosa reprised his role as Polo Pope in the film adaptation of A Hatful of Rain, directed by Fred Zinnemann. The cast changed slightly, with Don Murray replacing Ben Gazzara as Johnny and Eva Marie Saint taking over Shelley Winters' role. The film stayed true to the play, keeping the raw emotion that made it a Broadway hit. Franciosa's performance was gripping, earning him the Volpe Cup for Best Actor at the Venice Film Festival. That same year, he received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, the only Oscar nod of his career. The film stood out for its honest portrayal of addiction and its impact on families at a time when Hollywood often avoided such topics. A Hatful of Rain brought a new level of realism to the screen. Critics praised Franciosa's ability to show Polo's inner turmoil without overacting. Bosley Crowther of the New York Times called the film a striking, sobering work, while the Los Angeles Times described it as half reality, half nightmare. But Tony Franciosa's Hollywood journey started in 1957 with This Could Be the Night, a comedy drama directed by Robert Wise. He played Tony Armati, a nightclub manager who was charming, but unpredictable. The film starred Gene Simmons and Paul Douglas and was based on short stories by Cornelia Baird Gross. Franciosa's performance stood out. He had natural charisma, and his streetwise energy made him different from other rising actors. He could be funny and intense at the same time, which made critics take notice. That same year, he took on a much more serious role in A Face in the Crowd, directed by Elia Kazan. The film was about the power of media and how fame could be dangerous. Andy Griffith played the lead as Lonesome Rhodes, a drifter who became a television star. But Franciosa played Mel Miller, a writer who saw the truth behind the act. Miller was the one who finally exposed Rhodes, bringing him down in the end. Griffith's performance became legendary, but Franciosa proved he could stand alongside Hollywood's best. These two films, released in the same year, showed how versatile he was. He was becoming part of the new generation of actors from The Actors studio alongside Marlon Brando and James Dean. After his strong debut, Franciosa kept proving himself. In 1957, he starred in Wild is the Wind, directed by George Cukor. He played Ben, a young ranch hand who fell for Anna Magnani's character, even though she was married to Anthony Quinn's Gino. The film was an intense love story filled with passion and betrayal, set against the harsh Nevada landscape. Franciosa had great chemistry with Magnani, and his performance made it clear he could hold his own against veteran actors. In 1958, he took on The Long, Hot Summer, directed by Martin Ritt. The film was based on stories by William Faulkner and starred Paul Newman, Joanne Woodward, and Orson Welles. Franciosa played Jody Varner, the insecure son of Welles's character, Will Varner, a powerful businessman. Jody struggled to win his father's approval and felt overshadowed by Paul Newman's confident drifter, Ben Quick. Franciosa made Jody's desperation feel real. The film was a hit, and it helped revive Ritt's career after he had been blacklisted. In Hollywood, later that year, Franciosa played Francisco Goya in The Naked Maja, a historical drama about the famous Spanish artist and his passionate affair with Ava Gardner's Duchess of Alba. The film had production delays, but Franciosa was paid $250,000 while waiting, which was a massive amount at the time. When the film was finally released, it struggled at the box office, but his performance as Goya showed his ability to play deep and conflicted characters. In 1959, Franciosa delivered one of his most powerful, Performances in Career, directed by Joseph Anthony. The film followed Sam Lawson, an actor fighting to make it in Hollywood during the McCarthy era. The role was intense, showing the sacrifices and struggles of someone chasing success in an unforgiving industry. He starred alongside Dean Martin and Shirley MacLaine, but it was Franciosa who stole the show. His performance won him the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. At just 31 years old, he had solidified his place as one of Hollywood's top leading men. Career also earned 3 Academy Award nominations for Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, and Best Costume Design, but it was Franciosa's raw and emotional performance that left the biggest impression. Franciosa became known for playing troubled, moody characters who felt real to audiences. His role in A Hatful of Rain, 1957, was a perfect example. He played Polo Pope, a caring but frustrated brother trying to help his sibling fight a heroin addiction. It was one of his most intense performances, and it earned him an Academy Award. Nomination for Best Actor. Tony Franciosa had the kind of talent that could make him a Hollywood legend, but his temper often got in the way. Directors, producers, and co-stars all had their share of clashes with him. He had a habit of sulking in his dressing room when things didn't go his way. If he disagreed with the director, he wouldn't just argue, he would flat out refuse to follow instructions. This wasn't just an occasional problem, it became part of his reputation. On the set of The Name of the Game, an NBC series that ran from 1968 to 1971, Franciosa starred alongside Gene Barry and Robert Stack. The show was a success, but working with him was a challenge. His temper caused so many problems that by the second season, Universal Pictures decided they had had enough. They fired him. Franciosa later claimed he had been treated unfairly, but the damage was done. Hollywood had labeled him as difficult. His temper wasn't limited to arguments. On the set of A Man Could Get Killed in 1966, James Garner saw a different side of him. Franciosa wasn't pulling his punches during fight scenes, which meant stunt performers were actually getting hurt. Things got so bad that Garner stepped in. The two ended up in a physical confrontation. Incidents like these made it harder for Franciosa to find steady work. By the late 1960s, he was struggling to land major roles. Hollywood studios were losing interest, and he had to take work in European films just to stay relevant. Years later, in a 1996 interview, Franciosa admitted he hadn't been ready for fame. He said he had been too immature and hadn't handled the pressure well. But by then it was too late. The big opportunities were long gone. His problems weren't just on set. In April 1957, Franciosa's temper got him into trouble with the law. At the time, he was enjoying a rise to stardom after his Oscar-nominated performance in A Hatful of Rain. That month, outside a Hollywood event, he got into an argument with a photographer. The press had been hounding him, and when one photographer pushed too far, Franciosa lost control. He punched the man in public. That moment cost him more than just bad press. He was charged with battery and sentenced to 10 days in Los Angeles County Jail. Even after serving time, Franciosa still landed big roles. He appeared in Wild as the Wind in 1957 and The Long Hot Summer in 1958. But the press never forgot the incident, and rumors about his temper continued to spread. Studios started to worry that he was too unpredictable. He wasn't just an actor with a strong personality anymore. He was a risk. Then came another setback. In 1961, Franciosa married Judy Balaban, daughter of Barney Balaban, the president of Paramount Pictures. This should have been a step into Hollywood's elite circles. Instead, it may have cost him his career. According to Judy's memoir Bridesmaids, her father was furious about the marriage. Some people believe he used his power to quietly blacklist Franciosa from major roles. Before their marriage, Franciosa had been on an upward climb. He had just won a Golden Globe for Career in 1959. He was leading man material. But after 1961, his career started to slip. High-profile roles became rare. By the mid-1960s, he was working on smaller projects and taking roles overseas. Some industry insiders believed Barney Balaban had something to do with it. Franciosa never confirmed it, but in later interviews he hinted that Hollywood executives had turned their backs on him. His downfall wasn't just because of one mistake. It was a combination of bad decisions, bad press, and bad relationships. In Hollywood, talent isn't always enough. An actor needs the right connections, the right reputation, and the ability to navigate the system. Despite the industry backlash, Franciosa still landed some notable roles. He starred in Period of Adjustment, 1962, directed by George Roy Hill. The film, based on a Tennessee Williams play, was a mix of comedy and drama that explored the struggles of two married couples. Franciosa played Ralph Bates, a frustrated husband caught between family tensions and societal expectations. The film gave him a chance to show off his comedic chops, something different from the intense roles he was known for. His co-star Jane Fonda earned a Golden Globe nomination for her performance, and her career skyrocketed. Franciosa wasn't as lucky. Even though Period of Adjustment wasn't a failure, it didn't do much to change how Hollywood saw him. His reputation had already limited his opportunities. By the mid-1960s, film roles were becoming harder to secure. Franciosa decided to try television, hoping for a fresh start. In 1964, he took the lead in the ABC sitcom Valentine's Day. He played Valentine Farrow, a smooth-talking publishing executive balancing work and romance. The show had a strong supporting cast, including Jack Sue as his loyal valet and poker buddy. It gave Franciosa a chance to showcase his charm and comedic timing, something that hadn't been fully explored in his film career. But despite witty writing and solid performances, the show never found its audience. It lasted just one season. That cancellation was another blow. Franciosa was still searching for stability in his career. In 1968, he landed the role of Jeff Dillon in NBC's The Name of the Game, a show unlike anything else on television. It followed 3 different lead characters, each with their own storylines. Franciosa played an investigative reporter for People magazine. Gene Barry starred as a powerful publishing tycoon, and Robert Stack took on the role of a senior editor fighting crime and corruption. Each episode focused on one of them, creating a fresh and unpredictable series that kept viewers hooked. Franciosa's character, Jeff Dillon, was bold and determined. He was a journalist who wouldn't back down, even if it meant pushing ethical boundaries. His episodes tackled major issues of the time: political scandals, corporate corruption, and social justice. His performance had an energy that made Dillon one of the most compelling characters on the show. The series debuted on September 20th, 1968, and ran for 3 seasons, with a total of 76 episodes. It was a hit with audiences, and critics praised it for its production quality and timely stories. During its run, it became one of NBC's top dramas, and Franciosa was a major part of that success. But off-screen, things were different. Franciosa had a reputation for being difficult to work with. His temper caused problems on set, and he often clashed with directors and producers. Some days, he refused to leave his dressing room if he felt disrespected. One of the biggest conflicts came in 1970 when Universal Pictures asked him to take a pay cut due to budget concerns. He refused. The situation escalated into heated arguments, and the studio decided to fire him after 2 seasons. They cited erratic behavior as the official reason. Franciosa later claimed he had been treated unfairly and that the studio was looking for an excuse to push him out. After he left, The Name of the Game continued for another season, bringing in guest stars like Robert Wagner and Darren McGavin to fill the gap. But many fans felt the show wasn't the same without Franciosa. It lost some of its edge. His firing marked a turning point, and the series never fully recovered. Franciosa moved on to other projects, but none matched his early success. In 1972, he starred in Search, a sci-fi series about high-tech private investigators using advanced gadgets. It had a promising concept, but lasted only 1 season with 23 episodes. In 1975, he took on the lead role in Matt Helm, a detective show based on Donald Hamilton's spy novels. The series aired from September 20th, 1975 to January 3rd, 1976, but was canceled after just 13 episodes. His last major TV role came in 1984 with Finder of Lost Loves, an ABC drama produced by Aaron Spelling. He played Carrie Maxwell, a private investigator who helped people reconnect with past romances. The show featured well-known guest stars, and Dionne Warwick performed the theme song, but it failed to gain a strong audience. It lasted for 1 season, with 23 episodes, before being canceled. Franciosa never stopped working, but his career never reached the heights of The Name of the Game again. His talent was undeniable, but his reputation made it hard for him to secure long-term roles. Instead of waiting for calls that might never come, he made a bold move. He left the U.S. and turned to European cinema, where he found new life as an actor. The transition didn't bring back his Hollywood fame, but it gave him steady work and the chance to take on roles that fit his intense style. In 1980, he starred in The Cricket, La Cicala, an Italian drama directed by Alberto Latuada. He played Annibale Maranchi, a man caught in a tragic romance with Wilma Malinverni, a former singer turned prostitute. Vera Lisi played Wilma, and her performance won major awards in Italy. But Franciosa's role was just as powerful. His character was weighed down by love and regret, struggling to escape a life filled with mistakes. The film explored themes of love, betrayal, and desperation, set against the backdrop of post-war Italy. It didn't reach international audiences, but in Italy, it was a critical success. 2 years later, Franciosa starred in Tenebrae 1982, a thriller by Dario Argento. The film marked Argento's return to the giallo genre after his supernatural horror. Hit Suspiria in 1977, Franciosa played Peter Neal, an American mystery writer visiting Rome to promote his latest book. But as soon as he arrives, a killer starts using his novel as inspiration for real murders. The role gave him the chance to mix charm with paranoia, as his character tried to uncover the truth while becoming a suspect himself. The film became a cult classic, praised for its stylish visuals and psychological depth. Franciosa's performance added weight to the twisting plot, making his character feel layered and unpredictable. Though his European career gave him strong roles, it never restored the level of stardom he had in the US. The films he worked on were respected, but they didn't have the commercial reach to make him a household name again. His acting style, intense, emotional, often unpredictable, made him perfect for complex characters, but it also kept him in a specific niche. In Soliti Ignoti, Big Deal on Madonna Street 1958, he played a small but memorable role as a bumbling thief. The film, a comedic take on heist movies, became a classic in Italian cinema. Franciosa's performance was praised for its humor and charm, but it didn't lead to more opportunities in Hollywood. In Horror Express, 1972, he starred alongside Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing in a chilling tale of a prehistoric creature unleashed on a train. The film became a cult favorite, but it was a far cry from the prestige projects he had once been part of. By the time the 1980s came to an end, Hollywood had moved on. He was still admired in European film circles, but his days as a major star were over. Tony Franciosa's love life was as dramatic as the roles he played on screen. Married 4 times, he was no stranger to passion, conflict, and scandal. His most infamous relationship was with actress Shelley Winters. The two met while working on A Hatful of Rain and tied the knot on May 4th in 1957. Their chemistry was undeniable, but so was their volatility. Their 3-year marriage was a whirlwind of love, fights, and public drama that made headlines almost as often as their films did. Winters later described their relationship as a mix of fun and fights, grand passion, and low comedy. But behind the glamour, there were deeper problems. Franciosa's temper and infidelities chipped away at their bond. One affair in particular became the talk of Hollywood, his rumored relationship with Lauren Bacall. In a moment straight out of a movie, Bacall allegedly called Winters, complaining that Franciosa was late for a date with her. The two women exchanged heated words, further fueling the chaos that surrounded their marriage. Winters, never one to hold back, later joked that if sex were an Olympic event, Franciosa would have been captain of the team. Franciosa's second marriage was no less complicated. In 1961, he wed Judy Balaban, daughter of Barney Balaban, the powerful president of Paramount Pictures. On paper, it looked like a match made in Hollywood heaven. But behind the scenes, Judy's father was not pleased. Rumors swirled that Barney Balaban actively worked to sabotage Franciosa's career as punishment for marrying his daughter. Whether true or not, there was no denying that Franciosa's once promising rise in Hollywood slowed significantly during their marriage. Despite his Golden Globe-winning performance in Career, 1959, the big offers started to dry up. Industry insiders whispered that Balaban had used his influence to shut doors on the actor. The couple had one daughter, Nina, but by 1967, the marriage was over. Franciosa never publicly confirmed whether Balaban had a hand in his career struggles, but his decline during that period was hard to ignore.